everybody, and welcome back to another episode of our Rapid Speedrun. Today we are going to be playing another 10 plus 5 Rapid game. And in our last game, we played an opponent who decided to go with a less traditional opening called the Verisov system or the Bava London. Instead of playing Bishop F4 though, they decided to go a different route, and we were able to get into a pawn up endgame. And today I'm hoping we're going to get an exciting game where we're able to outplay our opponent. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. And I've been pretty busy with real life stuff, but uploads are going to continue to flow. I have speedrun episodes, and I'm also going to be working on some more long form content that's not speedruns, so I'm really excited to work on that. But today we're going to focus on the speedrun. We have the white pieces, and we're open with 4. We're going to see what our opponent has to offer. And we do get the Sicilian. Now, what I've been planning to play against the Sicilian pretty much all of the time is Alapin Sicilian. Now, the Alapin Sicilian is a great weapon, and opponents don't usually have a great way to respond to it. So, okay, our opponent has played e5. Big commitment, completely giving us 5 square, what we please. So I am pretty happy about that. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is develop my knight to f3, attacking the pawn in the center. What our opponent plans on doing. Right, and our opponent decides they want, right, and we might develop our bishop outside of the pawn. What else? Other options we have here. Yeah, let's do that. We can add some pressure to the knight. Threaten to take. Alright, and our opponent does play 6, defending the pawn in the center. I want to allow our opponent to play this tempo. I would say probably not. Just castle, drop our bishop back. Play 8. They don't play a6. They actually play h6. They're trying to discourage our knight from coming to this square or our bishop being to access that square. So I think that's a fair move. What are our ideas? Well, we can play rook 1. I want to play d4 in this kind of position. Calculate. Takes. I do think d4 is in our favor. Yeah, let's go for it. And one of the main principles in chess is knowing when to open up the center and when not to. Here we play this d4 move and really get pressure in this going. Castle, our opponent hasn't, so I want to make it so that rook e1 is going to come tempo, and by opening up the center of the board, we're making it so our opponent is in an uncomfortable spot here, and their king can come under attack very quickly. We're also noticing here in this position, knight is actually still pinned, so it's not really defending anything. Alright, and we play this move, knight to c3, of defending the bishop, or we can use that to defend the bishop. Let's just play knight to c3. take. What's the strategy here? Take like this, and our opponent takes here. Take here. Rook over. So here's my idea here. First of all, we have this excellent square to access with our knight. From there, we're going to be able to play this nice move. Bishop to d2. Prepare the discovery first. Bishop to d2 first, then we play the knight over, then we can play our rook over. And our pieces are going to get into action here very quickly. The problem with our opponent's position, their pieces on the king side were very undeveloped. They couldn't castle there. They're forced to go queen side, but we already have an open file to play with. So it's really quite devastating for our opponent here that they are so behind in development. And this lead in development is going to afford us a lot of luxury. Here we're going to be able to develop with tempo. We're setting up discoveries against our opponent. We have all of the controls. So we're going to play this knight to d5 next. Our other knight might sneak in well. There, or we can here. Creating pressure on this pawn and this pawn. Just allowing opponent's pieces to develop. Like this bishop can't develop if it's forced to defend 7 pawn. Alright, so we check here. Interesting thing about that check is not that many ways to block it. He has to block it with the queen. Something I think he can do is develop the bishop first. Then we develop this. I wasn't liking the idea of playing the knight here. That's kind of a poor move. Here, this move a3 is very strong, preparing the pin. Knight. Alright, and our opponent has moved his knight out of the way, not really using a pin against his queen. And wow. Very interesting game. Our opponent really just they got smashed. I mean, I don't know what to say. The Alapin Sicilian is just such an incredible opening. And today we're gonna do some more in-depth analysis because kind of games are just not that satisfying by themselves. I think we can learn a lot from this. We can break down each individual move. That's probably the best strategy here. So what we're gonna start with is the opening, 4, 5, and then C3 immediately has a few advantages. First of all, we're preparing D4, and as you might know, in a lot of these E4 openings, want to do play E4 first move, try to prepare D4. Want to have 2 uncontested pawns controlling the center. And what do these pawns do? Well, first of all, they take control of these key squares that are going to be hindrance for your opponent. So we control these squares. They can't put pawns there. Them to have strong development. All these squares on the side of the board. What else? Well, when our pawns are up here on the 4th rank, they're not on the 3rd rank, blocking the development of the knights, the development of the bishops. They have a little bit of developed. So that's why these pawns are so strong on the 4th rank. And we prepare for by playing c3. Our opponent decides to temporarily stop us from playing 4 by pawn right there controlling this critical d. They're trying to control d4. And the funny thing about this is it looks like, yes, they are going to prevent us from d4. Really, they are. In fact, they only make it stronger when we do, by allowing us to open up the position a lot more. Remember what I said. We want to open up the position when we have better development and like that. So, next move is obvious. Knight f3. Why is it obvious? Well, first of all, there's an undefended pawn. We can attack it, force our opponent to respond with. So, I do play it. But also, they're adding another attacker onto the d-square. And this is the critical square of the position. When it responds, we go with bishop to b5. Why bishop b5? Well, we'd like to eliminate the defender of the d-square and also a defender of the. Our opponent plays 6 side on a castle. Why is castling good? Well, we're getting to a position where we are going to be able to open up the center, and we want to be the one to exploit that. And by castling, our rook is action. If the file ever opens, we're going to be able to exploit that. Playing a lot of chess, something you've just got to be able to see that coming likely to open. You want to be the one who's ready to exploit that. You don't want to be the one on the crossfire with your king. Get our king out of the center. We're ready to open up. And our opponent plays a very slow move. H6 has two ideas. One of them being block us from accessing g5 with our knight or our bishop. The other one might be to play g5 so you can develop your bishop like this. But with this kind of configuration of pawns, a bishop like that is really not that strong, fianchettoed. Most likely kind of terrible in the placement of all your pawns on the dark square. I don't want to play with this strong light square. But our opponent slows down their development. Next move, time to strike. Our opponent takes back. Play this 5 move. Pressure on this bishop. And apparently the best move was knight to 8. Kind of counterintuitive. But, well, and we go with that. Nice, because it adds a defender to 4 pawn in the center. Tempo anymore. It also adds a defender to attack. So, it's a developing move that also does tempo. It's a move we wanted to make. My opponent develops bishop. Apparently, 4 here would have been incredible. And I'm wondering why. Knight to d5. Knight to d5. I see this as really kind of a difficult one to see in the moment. It relies on this excellent tactic, where if you take 5, there's the fork. Kind of nice. Would have been an excellent tactic to see 4 move. Kind of an engine-like move. Play a different 5, which is the best move. Opponent takes back with the knight. Take first with the bishop instead of taking with it. Apparently, small mistake. I could have had a larger advantage by taking first, allowing bishop 5, and this 5. This is what I missed. I was calculating. I did see the line where our opponent takes. Here we're creating a double attack. First on the bishop, also on the f7 square, threatening very close to checkmate. F7 pawn, it forces to scoot over. We're gonna be able to bishop for free. Opponent has to drop his bishop back, and nightmare for our opponent there. So this position looks a lot better when I see it on the board than it, and because of this, I moved. But anyways, we go with taking the bishop as mezzo. Drops his knight back. Develop our rook. Planning eventually advance the pawn. Open up this e-file. And our opponent, not seeing a way out of this, decides to just castle long. Now castling long gets him out of the e-file, but now he's subject to the e-file. And the e-file is just as dangerous as the e-file. Apparently b4 in this position is also the best move. I think here it's a lot more obvious why. Firstly, because we're going to be able to access the file immediately. Pressure with 5, rook 1. Here I decide I'm going to play this safe move. First thing I want to develop this bishop, develop the back rank so their rooks are connected, and also creating a discovery against. Opponent drops his queen over. Safe move. Apparently knight to d5 would have worked well. On his take, have a lot of options. Or here also just out for the rook. Yeah, this can't be bad either. We have a lot of options. Should we safe move? Pawn is defended. Also preparing a discovered attack. Our opponent wants to cover the d5 square preemptively with knight. Carte blanche. And we decide, instead of throwing, I thought would have been, I didn't like this position. And we're kind of forced into trade. We're not forced, but drop back here. Of course, the king slide over, the slide over. Rook's gonna cut the c file. I didn't like this as much. I didn't think it was as forcing, and also I didn't think the bishop was excellently placed anymore. I thought it did a job cutting in the x-ray on the queen, forcing it to. First, we redeploy the bishop to e3, and then our opponent makes what I thought was a critical mistake. Knight to block his queen. The idea immediately. Ace 4, and our opponent could have played this in. Forces in. Sorry, not. But our opponent does not go for it. They scoot out of the discovery, and we go for b4, pinning knight, and here we are just going to move knight, and that's the game. So I think at the end here, our opponent did get a little bit nervous. They wanted to move their king out of the x-ray, and they also had to move their queen out of the x-ray, and they could. He should have put the piece on. I moved his knight. And we would have been up a piece, but our opponent still wouldn't have been able to fight. But the main problem for our opponent isn't the fact that he's down material. It's that the material he does have is so terrible. All his pieces are kind of passive. We've got this strong up. We've got our queen while our rook's gonna, our knight is gonna center. We've got all this activity, and our opponent really wants to save for it. So I think openings like the Alapin Sicilian are really simple to play, and they also teach you back. The Alapin Sicilian about exploiting the center, blowing open the center, and kind of unorthodox ways sometimes, accessing odd squares like knights and stuff like that. It's often the best move, and it's not because we're playing anything difficult. have to see the path forward, and the path forward in the Alapin is attack for white, and black to be able to defend have to be very accurate. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I actually really enjoyed making this one. Not always we get these wins, and we're able to learn a lot from the analysis. I hope. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day.